Welcome to Haunted Talks, the official podcast of the Haunted Walk, offering ghost tours and paranormal adventures in Kingston, Ottawa, and Toronto, Ontario, and online experiences to anyone in this mortal realm. My name is Jim Dean. I am the creative director, and it is my privilege to be your haunted host for this episode. Today's show is a special one, and quite honestly, it's an episode I'd never thought we'd have the opportunity to make. We're veering away from our usual tales of ghosts and eerie mysteries to celebrate a milestone so extraordinary it's a first in the modern history of the Haunted Walk. We're thrilled to sit down with Sheena Bolton, who has just completed a journey that no one else has dared or perhaps even dreamed of. Her story isn't just about visiting haunted locations, it's about embracing the heart and soul of living a spooky life. Sheena is not just someone who comes on our tours, she's a legend in her own right, and easily one of our all-time favorite guests. As you listen, you'll find yourself walking alongside Sheena as she shares her insights and reflections on many of our paranormal adventures. Join us as we dive into the tale of a true Haunted Walk aficionado. But before we get to that, this Saturday, December 16th, we are holding a special night of haunted holiday stories at the Bytown Cinema in Ottawa and the Fox Theatre in Toronto. From bizarre traditions to heartwarming ghostly tales and all points in between, we share the creepy side of the holiday season. We look forward to this special event every year, and we hope you can join us for a fun and festive night at one of our two historic and haunted theaters. I also wanted to remind you that our Ottawa jail tour is coming to an end on December 30th. This is your last chance to hear the ghost stories and dark history that has earned the building the reputation as one of the most haunted places in North America. And in Toronto, we do have a few more runnings left of our Alone in the Dark at the Village at Black Creek, including the final weekend of December. Don't make yourself have to wait until next spring to join this one-of-a-kind paranormal adventure. For tickets and information about our evening of haunted holiday stories, the Ottawa Jail Tour, and our Alone in the Dark experience at Black Creek Pioneer Village, please visit our website, which is hauntedwalk.com. We'd love to connect with you on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, all at Haunted Walk, and be sure to follow, rate, and review the show wherever you listen. We absolutely love reading your reviews. So, if you want to give us a little Christmas gift this year, please send one along. Sheena Bolton, welcome to Haunted Talks.
Thank you.
I've been really looking forward to speaking with you because recently you have set a Haunted Walk record. Now I'm going to leave the audience in suspense for just a moment what that record is. But Sheena, I wonder if you could share with us a little about yourself first.
Sure. So I'm Sheena. I grew up outside of Kingston, Ontario, and then came to Ottawa for post-secondary school. Went to University of Ottawa and Algonquin College, communications and journalism, and now I work for a not-for-profit teaching cybersecurity to youth. Would be the quick journey of it. Interests, anything spooky. I absolutely love Halloween, haunted walk, haunted books, everything. So yeah.
A good question is, where do you start a story? Well, let's start at the beginning. At some point in the past, you actually came on your first ghost tour with us. Do you remember what that first tour was and why in particular you were drawn to trying a haunted walk?
I did do some research before this, and I'm pretty sure it was 2009, and it was the Ottawa Jail Tour. So it was around Halloween, and there was a big group of friends that came all together, and it was just one of those things you had to do for Halloween. So we did, and it was fantastic. That was back when you still dropped the noose at the end. So that definitely left a lasting impression.
Yeah, we had a little fun. We had a little fun doing that. I always regret not recording the audio of the sound that those trapdoors made
Yeah.
because I don't think people can appreciate just how loud it was and just how it would ring out in the echoey stairwell there. So I'm glad you got to experience that. A lot of people have only heard rumors
It's true.
of something like that happening.
Was actually just on that tour this Halloween on the 27th, and there was one other person that was on the tour who had also experienced it.
If we fast forward to today,
Yeah.
what was the most recent tour you took, and approximately when was that?
November 4th, University of Toronto,
Campus Spirits Inspectors,
at
yes,
the
at
Spirits
University of Toronto.
Inspectors. Yeah, so November 4th was the last one.
Now that's important because in between 2009 and just a couple weeks ago, you have now taken every single ghost tour that we offer. Is that right?
I have, yes. So it's been about almost 20. We're in the 1920 range. So I've definitely done a couple numerous times. I'm pretty sure the Ottawa jail is about 4 times now. And then original Kingston and original Ottawa are 2 times each. And then I think for the most part the rest are, oh, and Bytown is twice.
This is amazing. I mean, first of all, thank you for the support, obviously. And I know you often share it out on social media when you're on the tours as well. We appreciate that, absolutely. I guess at what point did it become kind of a challenge for you to try to do them all? Or was it just like you were so interested and so excited, it was like, well, I want to hear the next one? Or did it become a bit of a contest?
It was definitely a challenge. Yeah. So from like 2009 to about 2014 or even 2019, I took random ones. So it was like big group events. They were just every now and then. I actually didn't realize how many were offered at the time until about 2019. I kind of got back into it. I had a new coworker friend and she was obsessed with it too. And then it became a thing where we had to do all the Ottawa ones. It was when you opened Mackenzie King Estate. So that was one of the first ones we retook. And then because she hadn't done any of them, we did all of them together. And then I live outside of Kingston now again. So Kingston was easy. And then Toronto was the hard one because I don't often visit Toronto. But I really, really, really wanted Black Creek Pioneer because it's one of the most active ones. So last year, a friend and I had just wanted to do something together in October and decided that was what we were going to do. So we rented a hotel in Vaughan and went to Black Creek, and that was our event for the weekend.
You know, in some ways, I feel we should be hiring you as a business consultant at this point because you have such a unique perspective. Being on so many tours, so many different tour guides. Yeah, I know you were also at all of our virtual haunted campfires as well. So
Yep.
I really appreciate your perspective. So I'm interested in kind of asking you some questions, given you have this
Of
experience.
course.
I will, of course, at the end be asking you for your favorite tour, so you can plan ahead for that one. But maybe to start with, which of the tours did you find most surprising? I guess compared to what you were expecting, where it turned out, maybe different, or how you felt walking away was different than you would have expected walking in.
I almost kind of group them in a certain way. So the original ones are unique in their own way. So they often are the longest ones in terms of walking, but it's also like the day-to-day history. So you hear more about the communities and everything. I think the most surprising ones are the ones where you go into a certain location. So Upper Canada and Black Creek, particularly Fort Henry, of course. And those are areas that are still set in historic. So I really like that. It's a different element entirely.
I really remember the first haunted walk I did. And obviously, it inspired me enough that I began working for the company the next year. But there's one particular story that I remember. It was on the original Haunted Walk of Ottawa. And I'm curious if there's one story out of the many stories you have now heard that for whatever reason kind of resonates with you or somehow you associate really strongly with the haunted walk, or maybe it's one that you find particularly chilling or disturbing or funny. But is there kind of one or two stories that maybe come to mind when you think about the haunted walk?
Yeah, that's a hard question, but a good one. You're right with the original of Ottawa, I would say too. So like Chateau Laurier, any of the stories of the ghosts within that building, Bytown Museum as well. Oh, the organist in the church outside of Kingston. That's one of the ones that even though you're not in that building, you kind of sense and feel something. You kind of feel like you're being watched in the outside of that building. So there's that one I'd say for sure. And then Bytown, although nothing happened to us in any form when we were in there, same deal. You kind of feel like you're being watched for some reason. So it's not so much remembering the story, just kind of the feelings in the buildings themselves or in the areas.
I'd love to ask you the question our tour guides get asked all the time. You've probably heard people ask it, which of course is, has anything happened to you while on tour? Have you had any spooky experiences of your own?
I've had some different feelings, I'd say, more than anything else. So, like in Beechwood, in the mausoleum, I wanted to stay longer, but I don't really know why. I just didn't really want to leave the building. I either had a feeling or energy that I just wanted to stay. In Fort Henry, in the barracks, I got super nauseous when in the area that had the guards' bedroom and whatever, which later on, before I had told anyone, the guide did mention that often that happens in that location, and it was very similar to how she described it. So I was like, oh, that's different. And then at Black Creek, my friend that came with me, Diana, she actually left the manse, and by left I mean ran out of the building. So
Oh, really? What happened to her?
she said she felt something enter her like knees and then leave her like shoulders. And that it was a presence that she said, I needed to not be in this building. I'm not supposed to be here right now. So she ran out. I stayed with her two children and my other friend. And then we found her outside in the street off of the property of that building. So when she talked to the guide, she explained what had happened. And the guide mentioned that the same thing had happened to someone else that day. So that was kind of cool. I was really happy and excited for her, and she was terrified. But I was a semi-supportive friend, and I was like, I hope you're okay. But like, that's amazing. I'm so happy this happened to you. So I think those would be the main ones. We also had a cat follow us at Kingston Courthouse. And two of those stories on that tour, we had a kitty follow us. So
Oh, VIP.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's fun, and that was kind of. I'm glad we were able to provide your friend with that experience. Hopefully, they're not too traumatized.
She's come back twice. I had her to go to the original Toronto, and I got her to go to U of T.
Yeah, which kind of leads to my next question: is what do your friends and family think about kind of your interest in wanting to do all these tours? Are they supportive? Are a lot of them coming along? Does anyone give you kind of strange looks? I mean, I'm used to getting a few strange comments and looks myself from time to time, but what are those around you think about, your interest in doing these tours?
Yeah, I think most of them are super supportive of it. My boyfriend's gone to 9 of the tours, so it's if we haven't planned something with friends, often he's the one who gets lumped into it. And then his children have both come to about 4 of them, so everyone seems to be pretty supportive of it. I'm very Halloween oriented, so it's not uber surprising, I think, to most people. I've done some work travel and have reached out to different areas wherever we travel to take those tours as well. So I did the ghostly walks in BC and then the main Halifax one, the downtown one. I tried to do Newfoundland with Jarvis, but I didn't succeed. I was 3 weeks out.
Oh, that's too
He
bad.
hadn't
Yeah,
started
Jarvis
yet.
breakup. Wow, you really are like a world expert almost on ghost tours. I feel now. So let me ask you kind of a question for our tour guides. because I imagine, having done all of these tours, you've seen a wide variety of our best and brightest out there doing their thing. Which qualities do you think are most important for a haunted walk tour guide to have, or what can the tour guide do, or how they present that really works for you?
I'd say the passion for it. You can just kind of sense if people like what they're doing. And like nerves are one thing. You can be nervous, but you can still love it. So I think that's the main thing. I find there's two different types. There's either the storyteller or the theater. And both can be super enjoyable and super successful, but they definitely have a different vibe to each of them. You can tell which people are theater people and which people just love ghost stories. I also find if the guide is chatty in between when you're walking to the next location and they're asking about the group, if they kind of care about the people that are on the tour with them, that always helps a lot. Makes everyone feel at ease. And, it's even if it's just, hey, there's a cat that walked near us or whatever, it's nice to have that openness, I guess.
Well, always great to hear they're doing a good job, and as you know, the tour guides are really the heart and soul of our business, and they work really hard and try their best to entertain groups. And luckily, most of us, maybe all of us, really enjoy telling ghost stories and exploring this kind of thing. And as a listener to the podcast and our other experiences, that I'm very interested in ghost philosophy. We're kind of like, what is a haunting? What is a ghost? These kinds of questions. So I'd be interested kind of in your perspective on, the general question you probably heard me say we used to ask on job interviews is, do you believe in ghosts? But we can broaden that out to be kind of maybe about your perceptions. And have your perceptions, I guess, changed over time as you've started to do all the ghost tours? How you think about the paranormal or the supernatural? Has there been any evolution there? Or kind of where are you on the philosophical level of ghosts or hauntings in general?
I want to believe. So I am I there are skepticism, I guess, a little bit, but I'd say for the most part, I want something to happen. So I it's not that I don't believe and it's not that I for sure do. I'm kind of based in the middle, which I think is a nice place to be because it does leave some realism in it. But there's been some things in the house that we're currently in that are not really explainable. So we like to say that there's a ghost here. So we fully embrace that and we say hello ghosty, and whenever something happens we just kind of look at each other and like, oh, it's happening right now. I don't necessarily know like if I'm going to be a ghost someday or anything. Like that's where it gets a little outside of the realm of trying to figure out the thought process on it. But I want to believe. I love when weird things happen. I actually did the haunting at Laurier House, which is a little more man-made than the other tours, and that was completely amazing. I don't really classify it as one of the walks because it's it's less about the stories and more about the experience.
That leads to my next question, which is, you've done all these tours. Do you have a dream spot where you're like, oh, I wish the haunted walk would do a tour here, or maybe a kind of experience because you've done the online experiences, you've tried the haunting, you've done the ghost tours. Do you have like a dream thing you wish that we might be able to do?
I feel like you might already know this answer, and it's not one that's possible for you guys, but I really want Rockwood Lunatic Asylum in Kingston. I even just write a book about that. Like, tell me more about that location. I've been around that, and I'm obsessed with that location. Obsessed is kind of an understatement, but I know it's filled with asbestos and we can't physically go in it, et cetera, et cetera. So I understand, but maybe you do one on the property. Maybe you don't have to go in it. But that would be my biggest one. I also really loved the harbor tour, and it would be cool if you could get that in different locations, be it in Kingston, be it in Ottawa. Even Kingston Pen would be kind of neat. Again, there's already a tour there. It's not haunted, but so it might be a little already overdone in different forms. But I do like the ideas of going into areas or seeing them in a different perspective, like the boat tour. I've never seen Toronto that way in any form. So that was really neat to have a different view of it. Upper Canada was really cool because it was so dark. It's such like, and you're the only ones in that location. Same with Mackenzie King Estate. Like that's neat to be the only people in those locations.
Well, having been working in this line for 20 25 years now, one thing we know is never say never.
Yeah.
You never know when the right dominoes will fall into place where something will set up. And Rockwood Asylum in Kingston is a very interesting spot. And for listeners who haven't been down there, I mean, it's right on the water, right on the lake. It's has the very much abandoned feel, very institutionalized in appearance. And you're absolutely right. I've done a couple photo shoots around there with the tour guides, and it's just unsettling
It is, but
to think about.
fascinating.
And you want to go inside. You,
Yes.
you absolutely want to go inside. But as you say, it's not safe at the moment. But someday, maybe
Maybe.
we'd love to. We'd absolutely love to.
Maybe it's just like create hazmat suits and everyone goes in wearing a full hazmat suit and
Oh, we've never thought of that
yeah.
product. That might be interesting.
Sure, that's new legal levels to deal with. But hey, whatever. I'd sign my waiver for that. We're good.
Yeah, it'd be several pages long, but that's fine.
Exactly.
That's
It'd be
fine.
a physical waiver.
So as we get towards the end here, obviously it's the big moment here where you have such a unique perspective. You've done all the tours. And now I'll ask you the really hard question, which is, if you had to recommend one and only one tour to our listeners, which one would you recommend?
I think I would do the Haunted Harbor in Toronto. As much as I've loved all of them and everyone has a fun aspect, that one was really neat, completely different, freezing, but in a great way. And it was just so cool to not only hear the stories, but it was like a weird foggy night because it was in October and it was just fantastic. So I think that one, the guide was amazing. Yeah, so I think that one would be my top.
It's a great experience, and you're right, totally unique
Yeah.
amongst that we do, and we're proud to partner with Pirate Life on that experience. And we always like working with fun partners because they always bring something to the table that we don't have. In this case, boats and working on the water, which is not something we're overly familiar with. So I'm so glad to hear that's your favorite, one of our newer products, which will be returning next fall, Toronto's Haunted Harbor. Any other comments you would like to make? Any other feedback you would like to provide to the Haunted Walk? You have our full attention right now. Any kind of last words you would like to leave us with?
I did love the haunted campfires. So if they could come back randomly, I know they have a couple times. This whole Save Halloween project through the COVID was kind of how more or less fully fell in love with the Haunted Walk because I felt a little more exposure to you guys, a little more connection. We did so many different things. I now follow like so many of your staff on Instagram and we chat randomly. So that really had an amazing connection out of. I do encourage everyone to follow you on social medias because it's fun. You'll see me there quite a bit. And if you do tag Haunted Walk, you often get reshared. So that's fantastic. But yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. I really like the smallness of the business and the localized, like starting in Kingston, now in Ottawa and Toronto, like that's from being in those areas. It was very a connection that was just naturally there. And it's fun to go and talk to people about it. And then everyone's like, what do you mean the Haunted Walk? And then you have to explain that it's like, well, it's a tour specifically for these 3 towns. Yeah, it's fantastic. Feedback, just keep doing what you're doing.
Above all, we just appreciate the support. And you're so great. You're so fun. We see you at all the events. You're sharing it on social. It really means a lot to us. So we would like to do something special for you. We are awarding you the first ever Haunted Walk Golden Ticket. Which means for every new experience we create, the very first ticket goes to you.
Ooh, fun.
Pick a time and date for any experience you like as fits your schedule. But the first ticket for everything we do in the future is reserved for Sheena Bolton.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Thank you. That's awesome.
So thank you so much for the support, sharing your thoughts today. It was so much fun to hear, your perspective, and for joining us today on Haunted Talks.
Thank you for having me. I was super excited when you reached out.
I really enjoyed the conversation with Sheena. so many insights she could share with us about all of her experiences from a customer's point of view. If there is anyone else out there who thinks they have done all of our tours, or is getting very close and planning to hit that milestone in 2024, please let me know. You can always reach me at jim@hauntedwalk.com. There is no doubt about it. Our customers are what our business is all about. Without you, we're just a bunch of folks wearing cloaks and walking around with lanterns. Thank you to each and every one of you who have supported us this year and over the years. You all have a very special place in our spooky little hearts. For information about our Evening of Haunted Holiday Stories, the Ottawa Jail Tour, and Alone in the Dark at the Village at Black Creek, please visit our website, which is hauntedwalk.com. For our latest news and updates, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, all at Haunted Walk. And if you are enjoying the episodes, be sure to follow, rate, and review the show wherever you listen. As always, a special thanks to our Haunted Talks team, including Michelle Dennis, our outstanding audio editor. Until we meet again, sweet dreams.